All right, so let's start off this video by asking a really stupid question. How many times do you actually think about gravity? Like the force that's always with us and around us at any given point in time. How many times do you actually think about gravity whenever you're walking or lifting weights or I don't know, maybe even playing basketball and shooting a basketball? How many times do you think Steph Curry actually thinks about gravity? The answer is that he probably doesn't. And now here's what I mean. And obviously I'm sure you can tell from the title of this episode is about focusing on what you can actually control. You don't think about gravity, it's because that's not something that you can actually control. What you can control is, however, if you're Steph Curry or even if you're just playing a basketball game, is how you shoot the ball, how much force you put on it. Every single thing that comes from inside of you, that's what you can focus on. If you're lifting weights, then you can correct your form. You can go down in weight or you can go up in weight if it's too light for you. But you never determine that gravity is a factor or, oh, you wish that you can somehow change gravity and, like, the forces of nature. We don't focus on gravity for that reason because we are never going to be able to control it. So why do we do that in so many different areas in our life? See, look, there's going to be a lot of moments in our lives that things are just going to happen to you, right? Like there's canon events and there's so many different things that are just inevitably going to hurt you. They're going to break you down. They're going to cause you to lose jobs, lose friends, lose relationships, lose loved ones, and basically like just lose absolutely everything, including your sanity in this life. And people are going to hurt you. Economic downturns are going to come. Basically, anything bad that can potentially happen is maybe going to happen to you. And you're always going to be left wondering why did it have to be you? Why couldn't it have been anybody else in this world? Why couldn't it have been this evil person that I know about and like they need to get their act together? So like why couldn't this bad thing happen to them? And that's such a losing mentality in the first place, first of all, but it's also just one of those things that like we can never control. And we still spend so much time, so much energy, and so much effort just thinking about this reality that we are living in now, but just asking the question of why did it have to be me? We focus so much on just so many different external factors in our life about why did I have to lose my job? Why did my manager have to be an asshole? Why did this person have to betray me? Why did my loved one have to pass away? Why does this person not want to be my friend or have a relationship with me? Whatever the case might be, we always tend to focus on things that are just completely outside of our control. And ask yourself this question. Whenever you're focusing on so many different external factors that you don't even control in the first place, does it help you feel any better? Like, does it help you feel any better to know that, like, oh, it's just out of your hands? Like, let's say, for example, you're just venting to a friend and they're talking about either work or they're talking about, their friendships or how basically they feel betrayed, whatever the case might be. And see, look, because we focus so much on things that we do not control, we end up losing sight of the things that we actually can control. So look, regardless of however productive or unproductive the thought of somebody else or external factors is, or how not in control you are, all that information, it doesn't matter at the end of the day because it doesn't help you feel any better, right? I mean, you can completely logically agree with me, and you're probably saying if you're going through a good time right now that, like, yeah, I really wish people would stop just focusing on things that they cannot control. Like if you lost the job because of an economic downturn, then you have to realize that it's not your fault, it's just a way of life if you're going through a good time. But if you're going through a rough patch, you might still logically think that, but your heart is not in it. Your heart doesn't accept that as the truth. And regardless of however much something logically just completely makes sense to us, a lot of the time it's our heart that does not agree. And I'm going to make another video about this as well, about how the heart can actually override the mind a lot of the times. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and that like button if you actually do want to see that video later on. But think about this scenario real quick. If you're crying to a friend and you're saying, why is this happening to me? And your friend responds with, you don't deserve this, you deserve better. Regardless of whatever problem that you might be having, Just because your friend said that, you might logically think that, yeah, he's completely right, but your heart is not in it. And that is one of the reasons why you don't feel better, because your heart does not accept the fact that you are not in control. So obviously a lot of the problems start with the heart and some start with the mind. And at the end of the day, you can go ahead and complain all you want in your life about how what happened, this happened, and that happened, and all of these different circumstances that you have been put in that are completely outside of your realm of control. You cannot influence those situations whatsoever. You cannot influence other people and what they do to you. You cannot influence how other people feel about you either. And you cannot influence like the grand workings of the world essentially. So what can you exactly do? Well, you can always make sure to focus on what you actually can control. Look, life is going to happen to you. Bad things are always going to happen. And I'm sorry to say, I really wish that bad things did not happen to a lot of good people. But it's just a reality of life that we always have to accept. And there's no other way around it, to be very frank with you. You always have to focus on what you control. If somebody lays you off from a job, or maybe you didn't get an interview, whatever the case might be, you always have to focus on what you can do next. There's no point in focusing on the external factors of life on what you cannot control. And this goes back to my very first question that I asked in the beginning of this video, which was, how many times do you think about gravity? And the answer, I hope it's really just none, unless you're like a astrophysicist or something. I don't know. But you don't think about gravity because you have completely and wholeheartedly accepted that you cannot control gravity, regardless of however strong you actually are. So you need to make sure, and you need to go ahead and do that for the rest of the things in your life as well. There's no point in thinking about all the things that you cannot control. You need to focus on your own output. And this is a common theme that I have on this channel as well. It's just one of those things that we always have to constantly do. You have to focus on whatever you can actually output, which means, hey, regardless of whatever's happening to you in your life, man, you're still going to apply for those jobs. You're still going to make sure you get out of bed and make your bed and brush your teeth and do all the little things that'll help you eventually feel better. Because always remember this, and I'm going to end this video with this as well. Slow progress is much better than no progress, even if slow progress does feel like no progress as well. So make sure you're always focusing on what you can control. This was episode number 117 of the Daily Lessons podcast, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video because I make videos like this every single day. And this is Yusha signing out. Bye, guys.